But at the end of the day, it's supposed to give us hope. Like this is a movie about hope. It's about love. It's about, fighting for life and appreciating what you have. Because what so many of us take for granted, there are others every single day fighting for that same privilege.
Talk about the origin of this for you, because this is a really deep subject that you guys are going into.
Yeah, so the origin of this all started, honestly, 7 or so years ago. I kind of gave up everything to direct this documentary series called My Last Days, where I traveled the country and I told the stories of amazing people that were living with chronic and terminal illnesses, but like choosing joy in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
And I just kind of believe that we could all use a healthy reminder to live, to truly live. And through that documentary series, I met a young woman named Claire Wineland who had cystic fibrosis. And Claire became like a little sister to me. And one day after we were filming, I had asked her just casually, have you ever dated? Like, give me the inside scoop. Like, what's it like in a hospital? Have you ever like dated anybody with CF? And she was like, no. And then she told me that 2 people with CF can't get closer than 6 feet, or they could really hurt each other. And instantly I said, that's a movie. Like, we have to make that movie. We have to raise awareness. We have to tell people what CF is. But this is a beautiful, like, example of like a real life obstacle, not some, not a family keeping 2 like people apart, but like a real thing. Life and death in a lot of ways. And I thought we could both explore it, make a lot of statements about what love looks like and can look like, the beauty and the imperfections, hope, and at the same time, have it be educational.
Yeah, and going into that, have you thought about kind of the afterlife? Because she kind of mentions it, the character, about how she's trying to figure out what the afterlife is. Have you kind of delved into that, into faith or to God, or?
Well, honestly, so that stems from my life. So even down to the book that she's reading is my book. It's I didn't write it, but it's a book that I give to a lot of friends that I study. It's a lot of writings, honestly, from my faith. And the idea that maybe the next life is just an inch away, that all stems from my personal belief.
Yeah.
Because when you spend a lot of time with people and when you're drawn to that aspect of life, you have to think about what comes next.
Yeah.
So again, hope, the idea that maybe there is something else.
Yeah.
It's a small part of the film, but it's an important part, especially for faith-based audiences.
Oh, for sure. That's our audience, so we were interested in that.
Oh yeah, it's a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
It's exactly, so look, there's always a balance when you make a kind of a large studio commercial movie where you don't want to turn off certain segments of the population, but at the same time, you want to infuse it with your heart.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was about infusing it with my heart and my beliefs that this isn't the end, that maybe this is the beginning. And of course, you have the opposing view, which is in Will. And then the idea that, well, maybe it is, maybe it's not. And then we put little kind of Easter eggs in there throughout the film, even towards the end, where maybe there is an example of that world and this world kind of interacting.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's supposed to give us hope. Like this is a movie about hope. It's about love. It's about, fighting for life and appreciating what you have. Because what so many of us take for granted, there are others every single day fighting for that same privilege. And I hope at the end of the day, this movie can inspire and lift up and be a light in a pretty dark time, and that you call your mom or your dad or your boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever, your partner, and you tell them you love them. Because otherwise, what's the point of making movies?
Yeah. And did you guys have conversations on set about kind of the afterlife and those elements of faith and stuff, or?
Well, yeah, actually, believe it or not, we did. So all 3 of us did. As the director, it was important for me that my actors understood kind of where this was all coming from. So, Haley understood that the book that she was reading, that was going to come back later on in the pool scene, and that this is what she's, dove into. She's kind of, she's dived into this world because of something that's happened to her, and that she's exploring and she's searching and she's trying to find meaning, which so many of us are trying to do in life, right? Because it's all unknown at the end of the day, and that's where faith comes in.
Yeah.
We have to have faith in something, whether it's in humanity or whether it's in God or whether, because otherwise life can get pretty dark.
Yeah.
So this movie, there's a lot of faith kind of woven in, even though it's not a faith movie.
Yeah. So I had a personal connection with this because one of my best friends, she has CF, and her brother has CF also. So it's been crazy to see that. What would you hope the CF community gets out of this movie?
They get an opportunity to see themselves on screen. This was my dear friend Claire Wineland, who really inspired me to make this movie, who was a huge CF advocate, who had passed away just before I could show her the cut. The big thing she told me was she was just so grateful that she was going to finally get a chance to see herself on screen, and that this movie for her gave her hope that her life, as small as it may seem, because so much of it took place in a hospital, was worthy of having a story told on the big screen. And I think that was really important for her, and it's equally as important for me.
Yeah.
And I also hope that one day CF can stand for Cure Found, because honestly, like, you can't cure an illness if most people don't know what it is. And we want people to know what it is, and we want people to fundraise and to fight it, because it's nasty and it sucks. And but at the same time, CF, some of these kids with CF, they're like the most inspirational, amazing, happy people you'll ever meet. And that's the other part of it that's so important, is that like, they're not sick kids. They are regular, amazing individuals that just happen to be fighting an illness.